for Astro Monday. Welcome. Come on in. And as you come on in today, I want you to put down in the comments right away what your sun, your rising, and your moon is, if you know it. If you know the degree, that's a double bonus. Today's going to be a powerful day. There's a lot of stuff coming up. It's a Grandmaster, care for yourself, care for what your heart wants day, 20 degrees, which means that people are freaking out today. And people are feeling overwhelmed and freaking out. We're waiting for our sensei to serious joy, Christopher Witecki, coming in today, going to be actually giving us the forecast for the week. This week is a powerful week coming up. And this week, if you're not ready for it, it's going to rock your socks. So if you, again, as you come in here, put down in there your sun, moon's rising. Thank you, Cancer, Taurus, Virgo. Cynthia, you want to grab those other glasses, please? Gemini, sun, moon in Libra. Right on. If you guys know your, actual step number or your degree, also put that in there. Aries, sun, Cancer, rising, Taurus, moon. And by the way, we're back up here in beautiful British Columbia, Lionsgate, Canada. Hey there, Capricorn, Sagittarius, Virgo. Yes. And also, do me a favor, give me a bunch of likes and hit this button down here and send it out to a friend. Request to join. Where is Mr. Chris Witecki? Hold on one second. Yes, Pisces, Libra. How to heal stage 4 colon cancer. Please give us a DM on Instagram. 27 Pisces sun. Whoa, I've been dealing with a lot of 27 Pisces. 20 Leo rising. Oh, okay. So you're feeling it today. You're actually feeling it today. Today is your day. You should your ego should be on track. 2 degree Libra sun. You're also feeling it today. Sagittarius rising, Taurus moon. Taurus sun, 29 degree. Okay, the humble mom of 2, please send me a DM with a copy of your astro chart. We have a 29 degree group. If your sun is 29 or 0, we have a special group of people all over the world that we meet with. And it's part of a grander experiment. So this is for the humble mom of 2. I'm looking for, there's Christopher Witecki. Joy, and I got to tell you that my life has changed since I started using astrology to operate in my life. But be honest with you, I predominantly first used astrology to operate in my clinic. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Hello, how's it going, everybody? Sorry about a little late. Spilled
Hey,
coffee down the front of me.
worries. Hey, so you got your Leo hair going up there for
I
Leo month?
do. Well, I'm having a bad hair day actually, but yes, it's a little long. It needs to be cut. I've been on traveling away from my beautician, so yeah, it's a little crazy, but it's a long story. Mercury retrograde. I didn't pack my special hairstyling stuff, so I've been using generic crap that makes my hair look oily and shitty. So it's a Leo rising nightmare, buddy. But hello.
So,
Yes, and
Chris,
Leo's full swing, huh?
where are you right now? I see palm trees, so it's California.
Nope, I am in Naples, Florida.
Oh, you're in Naples, Florida. Now you're still coming up here this week, coming up, right?
Yes, I
Okay,
am.
good. And we've got to change a venue for you. You're doing the whole show.
Oh, great. I've got
Just
a
so you
whole
know.
stand up. No problem. I've got about 20 minutes of comedy. I just finished rehearsing. I'm good. Like, of course, that's just on camera. So I'll go break down after this.
Hello,
But
stuff
no,
Mary does. Stuff Mary does. Just popped up in the comments. I see all these people, and what's great about this world tour is I have all these Instagram handles that I've been talking to over the years sometimes, and then they come up to me at one of the events and they say, "Hey, I'm this person." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I've been
oh,
talking
yeah,
to you
yeah.
for 2 years."
Putting a face to a handle.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's part of our phenomenon, right? We're like, oh, like
Yes.
the
Yeah.
business that we're in, that like when you're an influencer, you're like, oh, you finally put like a face or an energy to it. And a lot of times it's not what you thought when
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
meet them.
Actually, it's a lot of times it's like that. So this last week, Lionsgate portal.
Yeah.
Um, I I want to talk about that because
Okay.
it's already passed, but it has majorly impacted me. I mean, in other Lionsgate portals, I have had relationship like endings. I've had
Hmm.
I ended my public company. I resigned from my own public company, Lionsgate Portal, 2004. I was arrested by the federal government in the United States in 2008. Jason had a near-death experience in 1 year. I mean, I can just tell you every year. Now, this year, Lionsgate Portal, we just the worst thing that I could say, or the most not worst, but the thing that happened that was the most like negatively impactful was we got a suspension on our Instagram account. And
Oh yeah,
yeah, for talking about water.
yeah. Well, we're having problems on our YouTube account. We're allegedly using violent language in our comedy show.
So and this is part of what I think is ramping up now. But first of all, this all happened went down on Lionsgate. So the
Right.
actual suspension and for everybody who if you're either tagging us, it says we're violating community guidelines. Literally, we're appealing it, but we're taking it down right now. It's posts about talking. I'm not even going to use the word right now, but it's just talking about water that comes from nature. Like they took a watermelon post, and I said, "Why should you eat your watermelon? Eat your water?" And they took that down.
Yeah, I think what's happening is they're using extremist policies and falsely accusing innocents of the extremist policies.
Yeah.
That's how they're bringing down the innocent.
Huh. Interesting.
That's what
Well,
I'm noticing so
it's
far.
but
That's
the
their
funny
method.
part was is that for us it's so benign of all the things that I talk about.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like I'm like, oh my gosh, that's it. Okay, we'll remove those. I don't need to talk about that at all.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, um, they're becoming totalitarians of their empires and making all the rules now, So I think it'll be interesting. Bobby Kennedy won. He won his case against Instagram. So go for it.
Oh, what was the thing that he won?
I don't know the lawsuit, the things of the lawsuit, but he basically sued. He sued and went all the way to Supreme Court that Instagram took him off.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about being able to deliver a message. And it's like for example, we started appealing our the post. There are 7 posts, and it's ludicrous. It's I mean, literally it's me talking about eating watermelon versus
this isn't
why you should eat watermelon versus drink water. That was it.
this is
And
censorship. This is censorship. This isn't what right or wrong.
yeah, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But if they when they went and turned us off, I'm like, yeah, I can take those posts down right away because I don't because the restriction in our movement was okay. We have 95% of our traffic got throttled for a couple of days. So in other words, we're what was interesting though is that during that time we gained 3,000 followers.
Yeah, of course. It always works against them, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not taking down the post. I read. I'm going back and going like, show me
yeah,
where this is. And actually, they're not really being responds. They're not responding. So we're coming up with a lawyer now.
yeah,
It's like, no, sorry, tell me.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Show me exactly in the transcript that you transcribed where I'm being violent. You know what I mean? Like, but I think what I'm saying here is I think it's time that no one tolerates this. Everyone appeals
Yeah.
is what I'm saying. Everywhere for everything. Don't get caught on the semantics of right and wrong because that's not what this is. You know, I don't think it
Yeah,
is.
no, no, I agree. What I was saying was like we're in this world tour and being able to communicate in real time right now is super important. And
Right.
and what it did is like we're coming up to our Vancouver event and all of a sudden we can't tell anybody about it.
Oh yeah. Are you off completely on Instagram?
No, no,
How are we doing
no,
this?
no,
Oh,
no. They
okay. Yeah.
just they just it doesn't go to anybody but
Yeah.
followers. And
Yeah.
then and then like a post that we get like 400K is getting 5K.
Right. They throttled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think we all need to go have some sort of plan for what we're going to do. You know.
Yeah, I mean, what we're doing is just so everybody knows and you hear that we're actually launching. And please do this. Go follow us on X. We got our X account back after I don't know, like 6 years or 7 years not having our name.
Mm.
So we got our X account back about 3 weeks ago, and it happened. It happened right during cancer, and it really around my brother's birthday,
Mm,
and it was just random because we've been trying for a long time. The guy calls and says, "Hey, I can do this now." And so we got our account back. So we're going to be diversifying our content back onto TikTok, onto X, and stuff like that.
mhm.
Just so if you're here right now, please, and you're already on Twitter or X, go over there and follow us right now.
Yeah. Follow on X. Yeah, we're
So,
live on X too. Thank goddess.
so tell me. So, okay, Lionsgate portal came up, and what seemed to happen to me. Let me tell you one other thing that I noticed is we left the United States on Tuesday, and
Hmm.
the feeling. Remember when I was leaving the United States before COVID? When I
Mm,
was leaving in December, I had this urgency. I've got to get out. I was having really weird thoughts, like thoughts of being detained and guns and handcuffs and this bizarre. And I couldn't get out of my head on Tuesday last week
mm,
as we were coming through and I was trying to figure out, like, it was something that was really unusual for me, and I don't know why it was there. But everybody, also Jason, Cynthia, Sam, our videographer, we were all feeling this super intense energy going out, but on the same time, exact same moment, Chris,
mm,
everything was clear. There was no traffic. We got into the airport. Everything rolled our way. All the security lines opened up to the point where it was almost like a wave parted for us to go through. But the feeling of fear was super intense, and I'm not exactly sure why.
mm. Well, I mean,
That
it
would
was on
be
Tuesday
6 steps ago. That would have been 14.
or 14.
Oh,
Um,
no. It would have been, sorry, it would have been on Pisces. Would have been on Pisces. It would have been
n-
16. It would have been 16, 15 going to 16 that day.
okay. Um, well, Mars squared Saturn on uh, on Thursday the 15th, 11:30 p.m., like the night before.
So
Um,
I'm talking
s-
Tuesday. It was Tuesday night. Tuesday night.
okay, so all right, Tuesday night on the 13th, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but Lionsgate is step 16. That's why I'm confused.
Well, no. So I'm saying this was what was coming in. So on Tuesday night,
Okay,
which
Tuesday
was
13th.
yeah, which was this, I believe it was the 6th of August. On Tuesday night, it was changing from step to step 17 that night, and so changing into
Yeah.
Pisces.
Okay.
And we hit the airport. And by the way, the guy who greeted us at the airport, everything kind of cleared out of the way. I looked at the guy and said, "You're Pisces, right?" He goes, "How'd you know?" And he was also a Grandmaster Pisces,
Oh
25 years.
wow, that's funny. It was screaming it to you. Well, as far as that day is concerned specifically, I mean, we have a lot of crazy stuff before and after. The sun sextile Jupiter the following day on the 7th, on the 6th. So, and Venus and Mercury conjoin. And what that basically means is stuff is coming up, you know. The sun sextiling Jupiter is basically a commandment for for your heart and your beliefs to get on the same page. So, and the page was 15 net 6. So what's interesting about when you have like a major line, that's the first thing. I don't have the full chart here. I just have my little
Yeah,
all my notes, but so I can't look at the whole planets. But I do find that on a net 6 day or a net 6 major event. So if the God universe says there shall be peace, the first thing that happens is the loss of peace, eruption.
yeah.
So everything erupts up. Everything always erupts up when there's a commandment. There must be peace. Now, if this is a narrative that could formerly haunt you, and now it can't, it was a healing.
That's what I felt. And because I went through the intensity of, like, in my brain, and my history.
Yeah, yeah,
I had visions of. I had to talk myself off a cliff. I had visions of being arrested at the gates
yeah.
and
But
about
you have been
and
arrested.
yeah, I
This
have
is
been.
this is
Yeah,
ra-
yeah.
this is rational fear.
Yeah.
Like this is rational
So
fear.
so that so
PTSD.
basically what you're saying is it's old. It's an old narrative that was coming up to say goodbye, and I felt like that. Like I talked to it and said goodbye to it.
It was a narrative disrupting the peace or capable
Yeah.
of. And the sun sextile Jupiter was like, heart and mind have got to be on the same page. Heart, do you believe he's going to jail? No. Mind, do you? Probably. Right. So it's like,
So
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 there's
what
a,
happened on? So then what was it like Lionsgate this year? Why was it so intense?
well, I feel that it's intense because this is an intense year altogether. Like everything's been intense this year. So for instance, you have Aries in your 12th. So I don't know how Pisces is probably intense for you this year. When I went through my 12th house transit this year, I was traveling everywhere because I was feeling amazing. And I had intense stuff coming up over and over again. And I was like, wow, the universe is, because this is your normal clearing time. But a way to put this is in the time I normally clear karma, I cleared 3 times as much this year.
Yeah.
I cleared
Right.
3 times as much stuff. And it was like Wonder Woman dodging bracelets. I mean, dodging bullets. I was just like, woo, doo, doo, like coming at me like a karate master. Um, it was tough. I think this whole year is tough. I mean, and I also think too, like even some of the stuff that's come up for me, your soul's very clever. So like I had stuff I should have faced in April, but because I was doing Unite the Light, my soul's like, no, no, push this off. To, like I think it got pushed off. Like astrologically, it should have come up in April, but I was
Right.
so like dead set on not failing, not repeating the past that caused the trauma in the house that Jack built. But you know what I'm saying? But I think even in some cases, so my point is like, it's also possible that God has these gateways of clearing, right? And what happens with the the Lionsgate is the real Lionsgate itself. We're not quite sure if it exists or where it exists or what, because it deals with Sirius, but Sirius has now
Yeah.
processed over into Cancer. So according to someone who channels Mary Magdalene, there is still strong Sirius energy during Lionsgate, which is ascension energy. But Lionsgate itself is an open heart in the sign of the heart,
Mm.
16 Leo, right? So when the universe says, okay, open your heart to the deepest levels it can go, that commandment, pretty much anything in the way of your heart opening, if nothing else, like crying because your heart can't open, right? Again, whenever God says, let there be peace, the first thing that happens is that everything goes to hell,
Yeah.
and when God says, let there be pure unconditional love, the first thing people do is putting conditions on their love,
Right.
kind of thing. And it gets worked out that way. So, but I think everything is for the better.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was. It just, I was at a stage where it felt like the day that I left the United States, and
Yeah.
I felt that all over again. And I hadn't, and it was beyond my ability to. It wasn't like something I was in it, even though I knew I was in it.
Yeah.
It was irrational, and I knew I was in there, and I'm like, I haven't felt like that in a long time.
I've been telling my clients, it's like I'm calling it the Akashic record player now. If there's an Akashic record that's playing on the player, which is life, and Akashic records are all of our problems stored in the universe. You just have to let it play. Like
Mhm.
most of the time, I think it's playing is for look how far I've come. Wow, this doesn't affect me anymore. This time it's a nothing burger. I've noticed that it always has to play through the whole thing.
Yeah, so let me also give you my experience, the other part too of it, which was um, my rationale as I went through it is, hey, listen, if that's what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen, and there's no amount of anger or frustration or fighting that I can do to stop it. So if that was the end journey for me, if that was the end thing was to be detained and arrested and put away again, then that's the way it is. Why am I trying to fight it? If I even got past it here, it would happen somewhere else. So I went into it and said, okay, whatever's going to be is going to be, and I no longer wish to have these experiences anymore.
Beautiful. I think that's the way you have. I actually have a theory that if you allowed if you allowed yourself to panic, you would have been arrested. Like I almost feel, to some degree, um, we are actually ending or beginning the repeating of that karma by the way we respond to ourselves in the moment of the reminder.
Yeah.
You may have opted out by saying, I don't actually believe that though. In this case, I feel like I think there's been I've had a lot of my own in my 12th house transit. I had a lot of my, oh God, are we here again? Kind of moments. And I was like, yeah, but we're okay. And it's like, oh no, we're not. It just looks like it, you know. And like, oh gosh, I guess I'm still dealing with that, you know,
Yeah.
like a little nervous afterwards. But now, not so much. You have to role play through the. That's the thing people don't understand. You can't opt out of the lesson coming back and role playing that you finally got it. You have to have that moment where you finally get it.
Yeah, and it's the feeling this time, you
Yeah,
know, and that's what I always connected to that. I mean, I processed, you know, that I had a memory just before I was with Gisela, and she walked me through this thing I'd forgotten about. It's saying to the event or the energy or the person, I give you a place in my heart. You know, I still recognize you and this message, and I no longer want to process this. And it was just a repeating statement that I did. So so that
yeah,
was that
it's
was
good.
last week. So now we're in retrograde and we're coming up to this week. What it already feels super intense. And then today, of course, being a grandmaster, a grandmaster Cancer Care for Yourself Day in the heart. I think that's why people are feeling it so much. But what does the rest of this week look like?
Well, that's the other thing. It's really important to say, like, we in the big scope of things, okay, looking at the astrology, we all had a ton of trauma and drama and things stored from our childhood and everything else, and that started to get cleared out from March till now, which is once in a lifetime. This has happened, right? Where we have Neptune and Saturn saying, "Okay, let's get rid of all these. All boogeymen have to go. You're getting evicted," right? So when you get to the Leo, and we're like, "Hey, open your heart," you know, like open your heart. For one, it opens much wider and more vulnerably than we ever have. Like, whoa, it's really open. Everyone's hypersensitive. Everyone's hyper alert to their heart triggers. And my hypothesis is, yeah, because you had so much junk in your trunk, you didn't even feel that shit before. You know, you couldn't feel it. Now our hearts are open and pure. So now we're sort of back to a baby status in some cases. The slightest little boo and people are falling downstairs. You know what I mean? So I think this Leo season was extra. I saw it in our organization, and even an organization full of astrologers didn't catch it. Really, I don't think. But like everyone was all caught in the reason why their heart was hurt. No one looked at the fact that like, don't you think it's funny that everyone's hearts hurt at the same time?
Yeah.
Like something's going on here. You know what I mean? Like that maybe we shouldn't take personally, right? But that's the thing about Leo. You take it so personally. Everything is so personal. What you said, Gary, oh, you hurt
I feel
me.
that.
Yeah. Um, but so yeah, so this what happens this week is it gets a bit more intense because the moon the moon is now ruling all the degrees. So every day in the step 20s and above, it's everything you feel and what God brings you today. Everything you feel and what God brings you today. So the everything you feel part, depending on where you are with managing that, right? Like will overreact, act out, act in, sabotage, because you're bringing all your feelings to all of your heart's core sensitivities, vulnerabilities at the same time. So 20. So I told our audiences 20 today is gonna suck. 22 in 2 days is gonna suck. 29 is gonna suck. Right? Like those are the dates where the we're sort of emotionally, unstable for a moment. The other steps are all pushing those feelings in a new direction. Right?
So, um, so we have an intense week coming up.
Yep.
Our event in Vancouver, which you're headlining at, is on the 25th. So it's on Saturday, which is step 25,
17th.
right?
Yeah, don't
What?
scare me, Gary.
Yeah.
Don't scare me, Gary. The
I mean, it's
25th.
yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
20. It's step 25,
Step
isn't it?
25 on the 17th, yes. I love God. A new vibrational foundation is formed, whether it's sunny and cool.
Yeah.
That's our prediction in Serious Story. It's going to be sunny and cool that day.
And then 26 is going to be um,
Sunday.
the Sunday, which is going to be some sort of karmic realization of where our heart hasn't taken care of ourselves or done what it wants, right?
Correct. And there's a shitload of planets happening. Mercury squares Uranus. The Sun conjoins Mercury. Venus squares Jupiter. Pallas squares Uranus. So there's a lot of energy moving on the day.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And I think
the,
yeah,
no,
go
good.
ahead. No, the full moon is the very next day. So this whole week is really building up to a nasty full moon.
That's
And I say
Monday.
nasty.
Monday's the full moon,
Yeah, next time we're talking, we
and
can,
that's 20, and that's 27 degrees, right?
it is. Now, the thing is, it's
Oh,
20,
that's
27 is an ego-based degree. So the reason why it's nasty is because the sun opposes the moon at 27 degrees Aquarius. The sun at 27 is like, we gotta fight. You know,
over
Aquarius
the right.
27 is like for revolution, right? But they square Uranus at 27 Taurus, so it's a T square full moon.
Mhm.
So like that, you have Uranus at the bottom. What that
Right.
basically means is like pretty much the way we're seeing is like a cease and desist. For one thing, if you're on the wrong path, it's a cease and desist. Like the universe is like, no, it's not happening. Sorry. Like it's a hard no for some people. And some people are just skipping down the road, throwing litter out their window, thinking like it's not going to cause a problem. You know what I mean? Like, um, so some people have a hard wake up call in that full moon. I think for
Hmm.
others, people leave society.
Hmm.
And because that full moon at 27 Aquarius is sort of like where society is going. And so I've been predicting that full moon is when people are like, that's it, I'm out. I'm not even voting this year. Fuck it. I don't care. Like people are just going to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even care who's president. I don't even care. Like, people I think are going to opt out of a lot of like organizations. Basically, it's the first reality frequency test that this is not my vibe. This is not where I vibe. Why am I here? So,
So a lot of changing musical chairs, changing seats, and
yes,
then that's actually both ways. You're gonna have people that
joining.
were on a path that supposedly they're on this path of enlightenment, of working a different way, and they're like, maybe I'm not there, and that's gonna happen too,
Right.
right?
Yes, and I also think people like you, for instance, you guys might go and go, you know, maybe not a world tour next year. Like you're just going to opt out of like a place in society you've been holding. Like someone will be like, yeah, we're not doing the musical. Like people opt out of like associating with certain things, not for bad reasons, just because it's just not their bag anymore.
Yeah.
And
I
it'll
mean,
probably
I've been
yeah,
feeling, that feeling is coming up. I've been telling everybody that this world tour, by the time we're done in May, whatever our last stop's going to be, that's it. Never talking about healing again. I swear I'll never talk about it again for the rest of my life. And, and it's on to a new world. I mean, all the systems and programs and help yourself and coaches and events and retreats and workshops are still there. But I've been feeling that opting out, like it's been something coming up.
hmm it is. I mean, it is. I mean, Pluto's entry into Aquarius is the ultimate opt out. So really, honestly, only the leaders are going to see this one for the most part, and I think you'll see them among leaders because it's 27 degrees. So I think the general masses won't opt out until Pluto starts to get higher up in Aquarius. You know.
Yeah, and Dr. April, the reason why I'm opting out of talking about healing is simple message is this, is that people typically hit 80% of their goals. And what I've observed over the years, people want to heal and never actually quite heal. They stay in that trap of healing. People who want to perform in their life, healing is a part of performing, is one step of performing. and and it's just basically moving people to the next level so that everybody can shift, because really at the end of the day, the people that are talking about healing, they've been talking about healing for 10, 15 years, and what I want to do is I want to live my life in the consciousness that I want to live in, which is performing and seeing what this human flesh suit can do, or actually the energetic suit around it could do.
Serious Joy's on the same path. Like we call it. We're no longer doing content about surviving. We're only doing content about thriving.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's the
yeah,
same thing. Yeah. Plus, it's run its course. There's nothing else to say. Like there's not much else to say. Like it was only supposed to be a part of our life healing, not our
yeah,
life,
correct.
right? So yeah, that was like step one, heal. But there's like more steps after that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's I think
Build the
it's,
new world.
this is also interesting enough. I mean, this is what my astrology says too. I mean, my journey was to part of my journey was to bring this into the world, but I don't think that that's my final act. I feel like my final act is this is just a stepping stone, because for me, this journey of fashion maneuvers and leaving the clinic and doing this over the last 4 years, coming on for 5 years, was actually the what is giving me the ability to now want to live my life and go and do things. I just didn't want to do anything anymore. I was done.
Yeah, yeah. Because we're so tired from walking in circles,
Yeah.
basically. But yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm feeling the same desire too to enjoy, you know, which is why I'm out here writing my book, instead of, you know, at home in Denver, just surrounding myself with things that inspire uh, for me to thrive instead of, fix myself.
So what is it like coming into the end of, because we're gonna go like, just I know we're gonna talk next week, but we're fast forwarding. We're going from 27, 28, 29, and then back to zero, and we're coming up to this September 1st, where Capricorn comes back into Pluto.
Pluto comes back
So
Capricorn.
have
Yep.
you got more of a sense of what this means? Have you felt that out a little bit more?
Yeah, we've talked about it today, actually. There's a, um, there's a, there's several oppositions to Pluto at 29. So, like Venus opposes it, and so is the first planet. So you have these like little waves that sort of pull on Pluto. What we actually feel now is that Pluto is the Chinese fire drill to quickly scatter to your places for the new world. So we feel like
Right.
it'll be like a helter skelter energy, but we feel ultimately it's either people doubling down on the wrong, right? Or people who are thriving getting the hell out of Dodge,
Right.
and that's a big thing. I mean, I think honestly, what Pluto 29 Capricorn is, people are opting out of what would you call pop culture society. Like we've had on our one show, LOL. Anytime we bring up a celebrity, even if we're making fun of them or like pointing out their errors, people are disgusted. Hollywood is dead here. No one
Yeah.
likes Hollywood anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, so that's a society we've opted out of. Like
Yeah.
we're opted out. We're not playing along anymore. And so I feel like Pluto 29 for the healthy person is, I'm done. Call me at my condo in Jamaica, right? I think for people who are way dialed in, it's a really nasty final act where they lose.
Right.
Because you will, and so like they'll double down. No, Trump for emperor, or bring Biden back. Build
Yeah.
Biden back better. Let's build Biden back better. We can do a bionic Biden. So we don't feel like it's going to be anything tragic. Although there's this, we've done the planets now till December. So there are moments where there's definite potentials for war. There's a few moments astrologically where you could see a war going off worse or something like that, like old school conflicts.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel mostly what happens is um, it's a final exposure for those who've been hiding too. So I do think there's going to be a lot of bad news between September 1st and November, because what Pluto does ultimately Pluto is to end the corruption of, okay, that's Pluto, end the corruption of, because Pluto's the purifier. You're reborn, right? You're not allowed to stay slightly gray. You either change or you die. Those are Pluto's two
Right.
options. You have two options: change or die. So what ends up happening is the people who don't change are going to die, right? The lies that don't change will be exposed. Like Pluto will bring a truth maker, and it will in his final act, you will find out the truth about some of these conspiracies or whatever. You'll find out enough to probably bring them to closure, is my opinion.
I think I feel that that's coming true, because there's there's a general rising in the acceptance of people. Like, this stuff has always been out there, and when WikiLeaks came out in 2012 and released everything, all of these things that people have been hiding from the real truth about our leaders, all to our celebrities and stuff like that, which are the big ones. The veil's being popped out right now, but I think it's still in the people are trying to get a hold of what just happened. There's some big celebrities and big names like recently, like canceled tours, like J Lo had
Yeah,
instead of 25,000 people, had 8,000 people at an event at a tour, and they said it was sold out and nobody was there,
yep.
and she canceled the tour. So we have things like that are starting to show up everywhere.
Yes, we are having stuff like that. And I think that to some degree, I don't know. There's a lot of when in the music industry, who knows what's going on? Pay for play, lots of stuff. Like, who's really a great star? I don't hear you playing Jennifer. No one in my house playing Jennifer Lopez. You know what I mean? Like, So I mean, I think we've been told people are stars when they're not. Is what I'm
Yeah,
saying. We've been told. You want to know the polls. You guys quit watching polls, please. There is no such
yes,
thing as an accurate poll. There is no such thing as an accurate poll. It just isn't. And I can put 1,000 holes into it. To the people you selected, to the questions you asked, to how long you let them answer. Like, you can manipulate a poll to any direction you want.
yeah.
A scientific study you can too, by the way.
Well,
So that's the way it is.
that's another that's another truth is I'm doing some mainstream media coming up here. And by the way, I've been getting I got offered like a mainstream uh, television host show job out of New York, by the
Wow.
way.
Wow.
Not going
Wow.
to do it, by the
How's
way,
this?
just so we're clear.
You're not putting a gun to your head. Okay. Um,
No, I mean,
well,
listen, I'm on a world tour, and
yeah, yeah.
there's nothing that's gonna stand in the way of me getting out there. And this would, so I mean, it's also interesting that the offer comes up right when we are like cresting and doubling down on helping the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I mean, that's either literally the Illuminati messing with you or God. You know what I mean?
Either
Like,
one.
from a God perspective, it's like, you sure you want it? Like, the universe sometimes does that. I think, where it's like,
Yeah, yeah. I
you sure
mean,
you want
that's
this?
exactly what I said. It would only be ego because at this point, I'm really doing what I love. I
Yeah. Well,
there's not one part of me that would want to be in New York for anything.
yeah. New York's tough, but I do see you being a TV host, but on our network.
Yeah, yeah, but it's and then we have podcasts and like big names reaching out, like substantial stuff reaching out right now, and this all flipped here in the last couple of weeks where there's been some shift in the way that the world perceives us, and I'm still trying to get my hands on it, but it's massive. Um,
Mm,
and and what I
congrats.
what I what I feel coming up into in towards the end of the year is I feel it feels like to me acceleration. Like it just feels like we're in the slingshot and somebody's about to let go. And that's what I feel like. And as a result, I know this is going to happen because people around us in our core teams and all that, it's all changing right now. Like literally our whole core team is rearranging itself right now, which means to me we're about to grow crazy.
Something's about to happen, and I believe that you're right that it's growth. Whenever you have a staff change and you have a narrative change,
Yeah.
I've noticed because you have different actors now in the film. So it's like, oh, we recasted the whole film. What's going on, guys? Are we still doing princes and pirates or what? Because it's the same film. Yeah, I'm seeing that too. We I don't know, buddy. I mean, I got a lot of plans. I'll tell you when I come to Canada, like where we are. I'm gonna put them all here on the air, but we're making some major moves too, and we're moving towards that direction. And I can't tell if the existing systems change or we just build coexisting systems. I can't figure that out. It doesn't have to
I
be answered
I I
now.
can't figure it out either, because like even the thing with the increase in censorship this week, it was like um I know that our mission is ordained, you might want to say, is being
Yes,
pushed out. It's going to
sponsored by
happen
God.
anyways.
This is sponsored
So
by
it's
God.
more so the observation of okay, not trying to make too many decisions, but the observation of what is and trying to get because I like to play the puzzle in my mind. I mean, that's interesting to me. It's not fearful. It's like, wow, this is fun. Like, which way do I go? Where's the puzzle?
Yeah, yeah. Letting your higher self find the way, and it's interesting surprises too. I mean, I've had a couple of you get there and it's like, no, no, we're not gonna now. Like, oh, there's been a few of those where what I thought was solid suddenly changed. You know,
Yeah, yeah, we've been pretty. I mean, we've been following that path this year, and I know you have too. We've talked about it in several different cases. Even our event in Austin, we picked a date, and that was with your date, and we were like, okay, so let's move our date. And, we didn't we just followed the instead of trying to push it through. We just followed what was being driven at us.
everyone's asking if they should pause their golden egg. No, you cannot pause your golden egg. It's the golden egg that saves the earth.
Yeah.
It's the fact that we're all creating despite. I really, I mean, if I'm going to be the football coach of Ascension here, I'm like, all right, team, I don't care how bad it gets. Keep creating magic and beauty and cool things for the earth. I don't care if they're dropping bombs. Keep doing it. You know, because I really feel I mean, I have a lot of senses. We'll see as old men. We'll place our bets. But I kind of feel like a lot of people like you, me, and the people that watch us, we're just going to keep marching on. And that's part of what the shift is that they didn't stop. They kept marching on.
Yeah, I think that's what it feels like. It feels like the trick is, and that's what I was going through when I was leaving the United States and had all those feelings. It's like, okay, I'm just going to take the next step. I trust that whatever that next step is, even if I have fear about it, I trust that that next step is the right one.
Yeah, I do too, or half the right one. I'm just kidding. It is true. Yeah. And I also feel to some degree, I have a sense that the world's going to be. I mean, my guides keep showing me the same image, like two lovers kissing passionately while bombs fall behind them. It's like it's the same image, and it's like, and I think that's what it's going to be. I don't. I think things will fall, but I have a feeling that there'll be people in bliss who just are oblivious. I mean, do you think Aborigines care the stock market dropped last Monday?
No.
You know, stuff that
Yeah.
we are like, it's the second 2008. And it's just like
Well,
there
that's
there
what
are
you're
people who
saying. I mean, that's what it is. It's like um not care, like if I know everything's going to be all right anyway, if I go like 3 years in advance and I know that everything works out, then it doesn't matter what happens between there and there. It's all supposed to.
correct. And I think, a lot of people are late learners. So there's a lot of drama of like, oh no, so and so didn't get the magic Kool-Aid. And then like act three, they're like, oh, hi guys, I figured it out. You're like, oh, he's back. So don't even assume like at first like, oh, he was so good. It's like, who knows? He may bounce back in the third season. You don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's surprising. It's just because you talk to them and they're on a different clock or different calendar. You know, I was talking to Design Maven, Human Design Maven. I've got a few people I want to introduce you to that I think would be really great interviews for you and your network.
Perfect. We're actually
And so
starting our podcast, a real one.
oh, that's great. I've got some people that just have, organic products, like just right up your alley.
Perfect.
And now I forgot what I was going to bring up here because I went down that alley. Hey, when I do that, Mercury retrograde
Yeah,
memory
so
snaps.
so but let me ask about that, because how is, because this feels very different. Mercury in retrograde in this particular time. We're retrograded now for another 19 days or something like that.
hmm So what I feel is happening is, first of all, Mercury started retrograding in Virgo at 4 degrees Virgo. So the step number that Mercury begins to retrograde is the question for the retrograde. That's what I've found. So the question is, it's Mercury at 4. Where does my mind belong loving myself on the inside? Like, what am I to realize? Because I realized Virgo, I now realize I become is also I realize, right? So what do I need to realize where my mind needs to be on the side of my heart? So in other words, in more simple terms, where's my mind ghosting my heart? Where's my
Sure.
mind ghosting my heart inside of me? I think that's the Mercury retrograde.
Now,
So you do four
now is that actually because it's in Virgo? Is that going to translate for some people in
in
like
health.
body type issues? Yeah.
Yes, I would say guarantee. Like no one gets off this one. If
So
you don't figure it out consciously, you will be sick.
so this would be, I'm going back to an old emotion that triggered a health consequence. And if I don't figure it out, I'm going to live through that health consequence again. So I'm going to go get the reminder like, oh, I got this feeling. Last time I got this feeling, I ended up in a hospital for a week. And this time I have a choice to not dive into that narrative and heal and to feel good about myself. That's what people are going to experience in this retrograde, right?
In the beginning while it's in Virgo. Or if you're like 22 and you're in college, it's like, and you don't think about any of these things, you know, you break your arm. You know what I mean? Like, and you can't write with your right arm. And you realize during the whole time it's in a cast that, you know, you really haven't been very careful with yourself and you really haven't been caring for yourself the way you think you should. So I think for the people who are just completely tuned out or not ready yet because they're young, there could be a physical injury. But I also think that if there's if there's a sequence of events in their life, like you mentioned, where their mind continually does not take the loving way. And let's just give you guys an example because people tend to not understand what this means. It's like if you if you pay too much for something and you spend the next 4 days feeling bad about you paying too much, you abandon yourself. You let
Right.
yourself you weren't loving. You didn't take the loving approach. You let yourself suffer for 4 days. People don't realize the nano small moments that that it's 1,000 paper cuts of where you have failed to love yourself in most of the advanced people's cases. It's only the very beginners that are like can't get off of heroin. That's a very dramatic, very rare occasion. By the time you're reaching towards mastery, it's like you weren't there for yourself last week. When the boss, told you off. You weren't there when your husband said he wouldn't come back. You weren't there for yourself. It's like these tiny little moments. But the realization is, hey, my mind, because of my childhood, which is based on my past lives, I learned to ignore my heart to be worrying about other people. That's usually the case. And so what you realize in the retrograde is, oh, I need to actually be very, very like super nano nanny about making sure that I'm being loving these small thoughts. Then Mercury goes into Leo. And so what happens is once you realize that you're not thinking for yourself in certain areas, then you look at everything you're creating, and you're like, oh shit. And everything I was creating, I wasn't looking out for myself in these areas. So I think Mercury goes all the way to 21 Leo. That's where it stations. So that means, okay, I have a new belief about the future now once it hits 21. So we basically change the way we love ourselves in our mind. Let me be very clear. This is the mind, it's Mercury. And then we re-architect the vision. So, when I talk to you at the end of the retrograde, Gary, you might be like, we're moving to Alaska. We've all decided, like, this is the thing. Universe just guided us. I know I said I was sure before, but I'm sure this time. One of those things like, all right, Mercury retrograde. Some people will have a completely different creative change of heart. And that's what this Leo season is. It's like once you heal from a lot of your stuff, you realize your heart was engaged in things mostly to avoid pain, mostly to avoid injury, mostly to avoid illness. Like we were set in this programming of avoiding what not to go wrong instead of aiming for what will be right. And so I think this is a major year of a change of heart in Leo, and probably a final change of course by Scorpio.
Right. So I haven't. I don't get this often, but something says that to me. I feel like you're supposed to tell me something to do specifically about my chart or what's coming up. How do you need? Do you know enough about my chart, or do I have to bring it up?
Bring it up. This is Gary getting a free reading, guys. See how he does it.
Okay. Can I get?
He'll always get a free reading from me.
Yeah.
I'm just teasing. But I don't think I have the latest chart because your birth time keeps changing on me.
Yeah. So give me a second here, grabbing it.
Okay.
And I've been having these weird, very strong epiphany. Oh, by the way, we did this in-person event. There was 5 people with my astrology or close to it, my birthday, that showed up, and one that was partnered with Jason. Exactly. So it's a 29-degree and 25-degree together, and they were a couple, and and I keep having these repeating astrologies coming up in my life here. But it was bizarre. I mean, I've never met so many December 19th, December 20th Sagittarius in one room all of a sudden.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe there's an apocalypse moment. God was sending you all to the same kill site.
So
I'm glad
yeah,
you hear that.
and I because I look at the astrology of everybody,
Yeah.
I can feel it coming through.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. You see a lot. I'm not too sure why you're seeing so many doppelgangers. It might be that, you're a leader of leaders, and so you have to bring in the leaders, you know.
Yeah. But I'm also seeing the patterns. So you'll meet Christina, my new assistant. It's the exact same astrology as Heather, Cynthia's daughter.
Okay. I know a lot of Heathers. Okay. That's
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's also, I do
I mean,
find that, like, so for instance, I do find, so I had a person working for me with my mother's birthday, right? Now, it was a very difficult hire because I wouldn't hire my mother. Okay. So never in 1,000 years. And here is a perfectly qualified candidate with my mom's with my mom's chart, right? So the whole time I'm thinking, what is this person here for? To teach me? Is it stuff about my mother? Is it like, what my mother could have been? Had she, I'm not sure. Long story short, we let that person go for interesting reasons, nothing bad, just not working out. And the next person we hired had my mother's birthday. And now
wow.
I'm like, okay. And this person is most qualified. So it's like, and I go through this like, because part of me is like, no, we can't hire them, but they're the best qualified. You mean you really discriminate because of astrology? Like it gets a little crazy, right? Like you don't know what to do. Quite sure, because the universe is sending you these doppelgangers, and you're just like, or whatever, these astro clones, you know. And
But
long story short, I have lots of theories about that.
yeah, I mean, I'm open to the theories. I see. Hold on, I'll bring it up in here. I see that. I was waiting for somebody to bring it to me, but they can't. So
I
I
was
see that.
in some cases you need that energy in the mix, and if one ingredient falls out, it's replaced.
Right.
Like so, all the mom doppelgangers that you have,
Yeah.
that's your mom back.
Well,
The
that
vibration.
sure came up. That sure came up here in the last couple of weeks. Like people that are close to me in my life
Mm-hmm.
with their astrology came showing up all over the place.
Yeah.
So see here.
Take a drink every time I fix my hair. So what's going on? Oh, it's backwards because of the camera, but um,
Oh,
yeah, the camera's of course, and Instagram is of course backwards. So the rising sign. So okay, so all right, so you're making me read your chart backwards. Got it, Gary. I see how this show works. It's easy. There we go. Perfect. So you have an Aries rising, right?
21 degrees.
Yeah. Well, Chiron alone is changing your whole story and character in the direction thing. If Chiron's trending the first house, well, that's your natal first house. So actually, we're not looking at transits. Well, yeah, it's because the Chiron return's coming up, so it is natal. So you're asking where the shift is happening?
Yeah,
I
there's
think.
something coming, man. I feel it.
Let me see. So Pisces. Well, I'll tell you this. I mean, Saturn. Well, no, that's not your eighth house. God, backwards is really hard. All right, so Saturn's in the second house for you guys. So that's definitely a change of revenue, business structure, operations, basically phases of growth. So even team changes right now might be because, people going now are part of the pilot team. The people who are coming now are part of the stabilizing team. I mean, you see that in organizations a lot.
Yeah.
But for you personally, I mean, okay, so everything's up there in the 10. I think things are okay for you. I mean,
No,
the
I feel okay.
just the change. I don't know where, like, lift the chart up a little bit. Let me just see the bottom signs. Well,
Oh, sorry.
I guess we have to scroll up. Sorry. Uh, just Jupiter and Gemini, which is in your third house, right? So first is Aries, second is Taurus. So second and third is ruled by Cancer. So I'm getting this backwards here. I was going upside down. So no, that's not right. That's society. So yeah, I think the biggest thing, I'm literally seeing this chart upside down and backwards, but you have, let's see, Gemini's in the fifth. Okay. So I think the biggest thing that's happening is two things. Saturn in your eighth, which is basically saying all boundaries are going to change. People are going to go, people are going to come, and you're just going to have to roll with it, right? Like how things change. Fifth, sixth, seventh. No, this is backwards. That's the 12th there. I need to grab your chart, Gary. Entertain for a second. Let me pull it up. I can't read it backwards.
Yeah, and it's I mean, I feel this change. And by the way, everything is changing. We are changing the business. Like what provides us the ability to move and hire people and stuff like that right now is the supplement business. But what takes up 80% of our time, legitimately 70% of our time, is the supplement business, and it takes away from us healing and helping more people. So we're moving more to the foundation, which is the donations, and then we're going to be opening up our behind the reels. So we're going to be monetizing media so that we can get rid of the supplement business, have somebody run it so that we can actually spend more time helping people.
I love that idea. And I'm sorry about that. Sorry. Try to minimize something and it goes crazy. All right, I'm going to grab a different tool. So you're going to do
About to have a
donations
nodal
instead?
return. Somebody said nodal return,
Oh, he's having an.
self node at 5 degrees Libra.
Oh, really? You're having a self node return. All right. So I'm just grabbing my computer, which I will have handy from now on. So we'll learn from this moment. Um, and I'll let you know. I mean, the I think there is a big shift coming. I mean, do you feel it's only you, or do you feel it's universal?
It's been different for me because I kind of don't separate myself from the world anymore, which is where I think the confusing feeling is.
Mm,
Like I don't feel individual anymore, is the best way to say it.
okay. What does that mean?
Well,
What do you mean? You're like one with the world. You're one with the world narrative.
yeah. The change, it feels like I'm merging into everybody rather than being individual.
That sounds like ascension, man.
It, dude, I feel it.
What?
I feel it. I lose. It feels like a loss of personalization, but not in a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like something I want.
What time were you born, actually?
109.
Okay, I just want to see which version I have.
Yeah.
Okay, I have the right version. Okay, I'm so glad I took that off the screen because that was confusing me. So, well, first of all, Neptune's on your Chiron. So, Neptune on your Chiron, and it has been all year, frankly, but that basically is that it is time. Like this is a time for a complete narrative shift. I mean, basically, you started the show opening it with Neptune on your Chiron. Healing is no longer a thing for you. It's no longer. It's on to the next thing. So that's probably the biggest force I see. The nodal return is correct. The south node in Libra nodal return. So with the your nodal return right now, this is by the time last time you had this nodal return was 2005, maybe 2006. I'll have to look it up, but I think it's 2005. Maybe the beginning is 2006. So just think that 2 year. What
That's when I
happens
moved
there
to
is,
LA.
well, here's the weird thing. Your Chiron is in Pisces,
Mm-hmm.
which at 28 degrees, which means
Mm-hmm.
you were a high up in a spiritual facility. You were a high spiritual being, and everything went to shift,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you flushed it down the toilet, and you said, "I'm going into the body. I'm over with this soul thing. I'm going to be a body expert now." And you did.
Yes.
Um, so what's funny is the mandate to be body over soul is over.
Yes.
That's what it is.
I feel that.
In a literal sense, it's all about your spiritual growth now. It is not about your growth in the on earth,
Mm-hmm.
which is ascension. I think you're
Yeah.
beginning the ascension process.
I feel
I
that.
think,
I
yeah.
mean, that's why I have all these weird, I don't know, weird, interesting, observations, and people respond to me very, very differently recently. Like, I meet people in public and they just come up to me and start crying and give me a hug.
Mhm. Wash your feet.
I have not washed my feet yet, but I
No
do
one's
wear
washed their
bare
feet.
feet. I,
Yeah, I
I wear
know.
bare feet everywhere just so that it could happen, just in case.
Yeah. No, I think. Well, I think you were carrying. I mean, you have past life karma going back to Atlantis with pissing off society. So I think that's part of your Chiron also.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you pissed off society. I think you attracted everyone who was pissed. You know what I mean? Like, to serve that narrative,
Yeah.
right, at the time. But the big change, I think it is the nodal. There's probably a really big change going to happen. If there's going to be a big change, it would be along this timeline we're talking about, where, and I told you this in your very first reading, that you will go into spirituality by the end of your spirituality, ascension, and energy. That's where I think you're going to end
That's
up.
what I mean, that's just confirming what I'm feeling. Like I said, I feel like I'm leaving, I'm merging into everybody and leaving individuals. And it's a weird feeling. And people around me, I can tell you feel it too, because if they're not feeling secure in their own selves, it feels like pulling away, but I'm really not.
I mean, unity versus individual is literally heaven versus earth.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally is the same thing. And this is where you're going to be an authority next. Um, so I think that's the big change that's happening. But that's a huge phenomenal shift in your focus. Your astrology also shows that you already told us, but you're making changes in your finances and how you guys bring in money. Um, and then Pluto and Aquarius. I mean, you have, let's see how many degrees here. 9 degrees of your first house is ruled by Capricorn. I mean, of your 10th house is ruled by Capricorn,
Mhm.
right? 21 degrees, the majority of your career house is Aquarius, which is innovation, energy, metaphysics. So you
Yeah.
have just, I think Pluto going from zero to, I think another one that changes happening is Pluto zero Aquarius, like right now, like the new Gary. Now Pluto's going to go into Capricorn, the old Gary. Then Pluto's going to go into Aquarius, the new Gary. So you're right on the border of, the creation and destruction of the universe right there.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm feeling. And that's why all the the old lower vibrational thoughts were coming up. It felt like they just had to come up for like a little bit of a shaking out.
That's happening everywhere too. I just want to report, like, um, everyone is having those moments of like, oh God, is it happening again? And the answer is no, because you said so.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
and that's what I said. I said so. I have Mercury conjunct my midheaven too.
Hmm. Yeah, that's kind of hard to get lost. When when Mercury's conjunct your midheaven, you're always drawn to your mission. You're always drawn to your path. You're always drawn to what has to happen next.
Yeah. Well, Chris, I think
Oh, we went over, didn't we? Oh,
no,
I lost
sorry,
you.
I paused it for a second by accident. So we're super excited this week coming up, and
Yeah, I
then we
mean,
have
if I'm not
Toronto the
mistaken,
week
I will see
after.
you Saturday, right?
Yeah,
Am
see
I
you
right? Like, I'm
Saturday.
holy
Then we have
shift.
Toronto the week after, and then we have a 2 week break. I'm going down to Florida. We have an in-person workshop in Florida, and if you guys want to check our website, check it out. Yes, and then I'm doing media. I'm down there to do television
Whoa.
actually, and
Well, I
then
do, to that light. I think it's case by case is what I feel with media.
yeah, yeah, it feels like that too.
That's how I'm doing it. There's some
Yeah.
media that looks legit that actually has their shit together, and there's some that's stuck.
Well, this
And
one
then there's our
it's interesting. They're pulling me. They initially were going to put me on a TV show, and it's like a lifestyle show. But then they asked to record 2 other episodes now and do a roundtable because they want to pull it for future shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's common as far as a trick they do in producing. They use it for the whole season.
Yeah.
Um, Also, I'm bringing up a friend that I want, my attorney. We have to talk to you, Gary. No, to the first event, by the way.
Yeah. Perfect.
I'm also bringing presents for you from another vendor who wants you to see what she does, like
Yeah.
what
I'm
she makes.
looking forward to it.
People are using me to get to you now, Gary.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I'm
For
becoming.
you? No, I'm kidding. I
I've
love it.
had to, and for those of you guys who message me on my own Gary account, I no longer answer it. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm down to it was getting upwards of, like 500 to 1,000 a day. And it's just like, and now they're still being answered by other people. So if you want health questions, my personal account is now Human Garage.
Yay, good job for that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some exciting stuff to tell you too. There's a lot of fun stuff changing and happening. So, what TV are
I'm
you doing in
super excited
Florida?
about spending the
I
time.
am too. I know this is
And
going to be our probably make this an annual event. We should get together as wizards like in the
yeah,
summertime.
we should.
Every year and just
And
check in.
then Ontario, I'm doing the Tampa stuff. We got a workshop down there, and then back to LA for the big event. And then we're gonna do, just so everybody knows they haven't seen it yet. Go to our website, sign up. We're gonna do Minnesota. We're doing Miami. So we are gonna do an event in Miami on October 6th, I believe it is. And we'll have an in-person workshop, which we're now doing at each event. And then we're off to London, Cape Town. We're still working with Dubai, and then we're in Australia for 5 weeks, and then we're over to Philippines. In Philippines, it's going to be 5 to 10,000 people events.
I believe it. That's an underserved community.
Yeah,
They need
and
you. They
they're
need
the
you.
caregivers of the world.
They are the most caring. I'd like to know their sign. I've always loved Filipino people.
They
Always.
got
They're
to be
so,
cancers. I bet you any money.
yeah, maybe, but they're not crabby enough. They're always nice all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. Well, that's cool. When is your LA event again?
The 21st, and we have and for
Of
those
which
guys,
month?
we are
August
launch.
21st?
Oh no, it says September 21st.
Okay.
We are launching, we're doing our first, because we can't see people at events anymore. Like they're getting up, like basically, as you saw in Austin, there was a lineup
Yeah.
of
Out.
600 people to see us, and we split them into two, and we stayed there 12 hours. We can't, first of all, we can't do that repetitively. And right now we're leaving people not being able to see them. And it's more of an angst. So we're
Yeah.
not, we have we have dozens and dozens of coaches and practitioners at each event now, so people are coming and working with them. But what we are going to be doing to as an additional fundraiser, so we can expand our content and stuff like that, is we're doing a dinner series in LA. We're going to be doing it on that. I believe it's the 19th. We're launching it right away. It's $8,000 a plate. There's only 16 people.
Mm.
And what it is we have a chef coming in. People are going to come in. We're going to move with them, work with them. We're going to cook with them. We're going to hang out with some people in an unreal location for a single day. And we're going to use these on each and every stop as we go as a way to continue to fundraise so we can keep creating more content. And we're making an impact on that billion. Like we have 1 billion of views, but we are going to physically meet people in with fascial maneuvers and with our belief system by next year by with 1 billion people. And we're going to be doing that. Yes, we're coming to London too. So if you want to spend special time with us, it's 16 people per stop only, and it's
Hmm.
$8,000 per seat. And again, this is a fundraising opportunity. We're going to hang with you, cook with you, and all that kind of stuff.
That's cool. I'm sure getting on tape. That's a very cool thing. That's like presidential campaign kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think president just like it just kind of limits us to America. So
True. No, no. I mean, it's campaign fundraising kind of stuff.
yeah,
How's
that's
that?
what we're doing. That's
Yeah.
what we're
Yeah.
doing. It's the funds
But
we get allow us to expand the team, create more meaning, more context. We're in 80 countries now, but now we have to get that content done in 80 different
yeah.
languages.
Yeah.
And
It's
that's
huge.
just
Yeah.
it's a big uphill climb. And also by stimulating and getting resources in each and every country so they can start helping themselves. So
Yeah. It's a big mission, buddy. One thing is you're doing the right thing. You just spend a year putting your hands on people who don't have $8,000.
yeah, I mean
So, and
we've been doing that for
yeah.
everything we've done is free of charge to help
Yeah.
people, and all of our and even today when I still see people on VIPs and stuff like that, weird cases and stuff like that. We have a form, and I see a couple each time to help spread the message, but I don't charge personally. It doesn't matter whether you're a billionaire or you're a single mom. When we help people, we don't charge for anything.
I think that's beautiful. But I also think it's good that I think, like I said, there are people who are in the old world who are going to cross over for 8 grand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah,
and
and they're contributing to a bigger cause. I mean, it allows us to. It's expensive to keep stuff free.
yeah, no kidding. And what I'm saying though is going back to what we said earlier. I think some, people who are they're going to be late bloomers. Going to be people you have to leave that, first class lounge open for the
Yeah,
ones who get it in the last hour.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
yes.
saying. So I think it's win 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 all the place. Like feeding you, feeding your people, everything. It's a good idea. It's good.
Yeah, and we get to we're the most powerful thing is you're seeing these events where people are actually what's starting to happen is we have so many people that have engaged and our coaches and doctors like in our hands-on workshop we had dentists and naturopathic doctors and medical doctors and that coming
Yeah.
to the events. So what we have seasoned practitioners that have been learning this stuff now, and we have hundreds of them sometimes in each and every location. So they're there to help because they're there to help you long term. You see me once isn't going to do anything for you. But being able to work with somebody or a local community every week is what's really going to make the difference.
Well, yeah, and these people need things to do in the new era, and yeah, it's great. I think you're spreading the intelligence amongst the people, not in books.
Yes, that's exactly what
Yeah,
it is. It's a feeling.
it is.
Chris,
Yeah,
I
you're doing great,
appreciate you
brother.
so much. We're going to see
Appreciate you
you
too, sir.
this coming weekend, spend some time together. Looking forward to checking in again.
Checking in and toasting some carrot juice.
Love you, brother.
Love you too, man. Fly safe. See you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.